Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Danielle Kozlowski here with RotoCurve to give you guys the weather forecast for the Monday night baseball games. And unfortunately, it is looking a little rough all around this evening. Mostly the two games that are going to be the biggest to deal with are Kansas City and Chicago. In Chicago, that's for Cubs and White Sox, sadly. And those are going to be the two big ones that I talk about. But first, just to give you guys a little update, Cleveland, I'm not worried about pretty much at all. There is like a 20% slight chance for a thunderstorm at some point tonight in the early innings, but I don't see that happening. It's pretty much dry out there right now. So Cleveland, you should be fine. Pittsburgh is a little bit on the lower end of the worry for tonight, even though they have 60% chance of showers and a possible thunderstorm or two mixed in during game time. So there's probably a good chance that they will have a rain delay at some point during the game. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. The storms right now out there in Pittsburgh are kind of, widely scattered. They're not in coverage. They're pretty low. I can actually go ahead and show you guys those really quick before I get into Kansas City and Chicago. But before I get into those two, I can talk about the winds a little bit, and those are going to be for 4 different games. 2 of them being if they play, and if they get some sort of game time in, those being Chicago and Kansas City. Really quick, here is the radar for western Pennsylvania, for the Pittsburgh area. Like I said, very widely scattered light showers and some thunderstorms around. I think this one, like I said, is probably just going to have a rain delay at some point in the game. Nothing significant, nothing that will last very long. So that's good. As for the winds, we'll have Chicago. Winds are going to be out of the south-southwest at around 10-15 miles an hour, blowing out to center field. Minnesota, the Twins game, will be winds out of the north-northwest, around 10 to 15 miles an hour, blowing out to right field. Kansas City, winds will be out of the south, around 15 miles an hour, blowing out to left. And then San Francisco Giants, winds will be out of the west-southwest at 20 to 25 miles an hour, gusting to 30, 35 miles per hour or greater at some points out to left center. So the winds out there will be the strongest for sure. Going into Kansas City and Chicago now. So right now I'm watching the line of thunderstorms that has been forming over the past few hours, and the Storm Prediction Center has actually just issued a mesoscale discussion, which is basically them talking about whether or not they want to issue either a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch for the specific area that you see outlined here in purple. And so obviously that includes Kansas City over the next few hours. And so I will definitely keep you updated if and when they issue a watch, because it looks like they will. This really severe line of storms, as you can see, is out here in central, moving into eastern Kansas, and it's already in northern Missouri and Iowa. And that part of the line is going to fill in through the evening, and that is what is going to eventually affect Chicago. And yes, Chicago is actually under some severe thunderstorms right now as we speak, and they will get more later also. So Kansas City, I'm hoping that for you guys, it'll really just be a late start to the game. It might be, a little while, like couple hours if they want to try and get it in, because once that line passes, there won't be anything behind it. So we're kind of just going to have to be patient here for the few hours before lock to see how fast this line is pushing through, and hopefully to see if we can get that game in. So if that happens, then Chicago might be the more pain one to deal with because of this line up here in the north. And I don't have them pulled up right now, but looking at the models earlier this morning, it really looked like pretty much all the ones I looked at were having that second line of storms coming through this evening, if not at game time, pretty much in the first few innings around 8 or 9 o'clock. Excuse me. So it's definitely going to affect them at some point too. So hopefully that line can just move through Kansas City and we won't have to worry about that. But then, like I'm saying, if that is the case, which would be good, then Chicago will be the main worry. So those two, I think, are the biggest concerns tonight. Definitely, they both have a decent chance of being postponed, depending on how badly the storms are that go through both stadiums. So that is always a risk, just so you know. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I will be there over the next few hours and early this evening answering questions that you guys have. And yeah, I just want to wish everyone good luck. I know it's a busy day with weather for sports, so hopefully it all works out for you guys.